Samsung, sometimes seen as the direct competitor to Apple. During the mid to late 2010s, they were at their golden age of design and style. Nearly everything they did felt experimental, unique, and different to everything else that was out there. Fast forward to today, and everything is just... what happened here? To me, I believe Samsung's golden age was from the Galaxy S5 to the Galaxy S10, from 2014 to 2019. Let's break this up into categories. Number 1. Phones. Up to the Galaxy S5, all of Samsung's phones were hunks of plastic. Their build quality was... okay, it was passable, but they really loved their crappy plastic materials and making fake materials out of plastic like leather and fake metal. It was kind of disgusting, but also it was just kind of what people did at the time. Also, TouchWiz wasn't helping anything either with the beeps and boops every time you tap anything on the screen. Samsung, of course, was still very much experimenting with some really wacky designs, one of them being the Galaxy Note Edge, where they rounded one of the edges of the screen. It was dumb and stupid, but they did it anyway, and it led to the Galaxy S6. Now look, I absolutely hate curved edges on phones. I think they're fragile and kinda dumb, a bit outdated honestly. But back in this era, I really can't imagine Samsung without curved screens, and quite frankly, I think some of their most beautiful smartphones ever were the phones with the curved edges on them. Say what you want about curved screens, but it gave Samsung their image of this era, and it was a design trait that was truly unique to them. They were actually trend-setting something that a lot of companies copied. Other Samsung traits were having the camera in the middle of the phone, which pretty much drew a direct lineage from the Galaxy S2 all the way to the Galaxy S10. And also just adding random wacky stuff to the phone like a heart rate sensor, an iris scanner, and an IR blaster, among other things. Some of these were great and genuinely useful, some of them were just really dumb, but what it did do was give Samsung their own feature set and their own feel, and it helped set them apart from the Apples and other companies of the world. Let's talk about where it all started going downhill. The Galaxy Fold and the Galaxy Note 10. These phones are truly the start of the modern Samsung era, but more of a warm-up to the phone that would really introduce us to it. These were the first Samsung phones to remove the headphone jack. When it was removed, you could kind of feel a sense of, really? When Samsung did it. Because quite frankly, even to this day, there still really isn't a point of removing it, besides getting a few millimeters back and charging people for wireless AirPods. So yeah, that was pretty lame. They also moved the camera lens up to the top left corner, which look, it's not a bad thing, it just felt a little, un-Samsung at the time. But these trends all made it into the Galaxy S20. What an absolutely lame smartphone this was. The prices were way too high, they removed very Samsung-like features even if they were useless, such as the headphone jack and the heart rate sensor. The design was a massive step back, it was just such a nothing looking phone. I will say though, for this generation, there was one classic Samsung-esque feature that they included, and that was the 100x zoom, but it was pretty useless at the time. The images were kind of grainy as hell. This would be improved on over time, but there you go. One Samsung-esque feature in your smartphone this year. But yeah, the Galaxy S20 really is the year where the Galaxy S line really got boring. Design-wise, the Galaxy S21 was actually a pretty decent follow-up. I think the camera side rail integration thing actually looked pretty sweet. I do like how this generation looks. But that would really be the last inspired design that we'd get out of Samsung, because next up we had the traffic lights. And look, the traffic lights are cool in theory, I don't mind how they look. The problem comes when every single Samsung phone now looks like this. Every single one. From the Galaxy A05s to the Galaxy S24 Plus, they all look exactly the same. It's just so boring. And to make it even worse, they went and squared off the edges just like an iPhone, for literally no reason. Some phones like the Nothing Phone 2 pull it off pretty well, but every time I see it on other phones, it's just like, come on guys, it's clear that y'all are just trying to be iPhones. I will say though, the Galaxy Ultra phones are probably the only Samsung flagship phones that really carry the old Samsung spirit. If you're gonna square off the edges, honestly, this is kind of the way to do it. Square off every single edge and turn it into just this sharp, square phone brick thing. I actually like how boxy the Galaxy S24 is. It's different. And it's still got the S Pen, which is still a very Samsung-esque feature. But really, that's about it. The S24 Ultra is the only one with the radical design, and it has that weird-ass S Pen. It's the only mainline Samsung phone left that still feels like a Samsung phone. Everything else is just the same as each other now, and boring at best. But what about the folding phones, I hear you cry? It's very clear that Samsung had wanted to make a folding phone for ages. It truly is a classic Samsung era risk type move. But the simple fact of the matter is Samsung has just been doing the most glacial, boring updates to these folding phones while the competition is kinda passing them by at this point. You know it's bad when you're getting beat by Motorola. And quite frankly, I really like the design of the Razr compared to the Flip. The Flip just looks like a joke in comparison, let's be real. Oh, and also just remember that the first generation Fold looked like this. How did they let this happen? Number 2, tablets. I don't really have much to say about these. Samsung tablets haven't really pushed the boundaries too much, ever. They mostly just tried making them really big, like really big, and adding S Pen support, and that's pretty much what they still do now with the Ultra line and most of the other tablets, so whatever. Their innovation mostly comes down to software, which Samsung still does kind of well, but all their like compelling things such as floating apps are things that they introduced back in their golden era, so I don't know. Number 3. Buds. Samsung had their own design for buds going on for a bit, didn't they? And just recently, they introduced this. What the hell is this? They literally look exactly like AirPods. I know the stem has benefits, it lets you take them in and out easier and lets you put the controls there, but come on you guys. At least the pros look kinda unique with the silver finish, but it's kinda lame. No, it's just really lame. It's just admitting defeat, that's all it really is. Even if they've got fancy audio tech that make him sound better than any other bud on the planet, the general public will not care because they will look at these buds and say, hey, those are knockoff AirPods, and that is all they'll be reduced to. It's really cheapening the Samsung brand, and that's part of the problem I'm really having with Samsung's Mon designs. Hence why I'm making this video. Number 4. Laptops. Who the hell gives a shit? Number 5. Watches. Any Galaxy Watch that doesn't have a rotating bezel is dumb, lame, and stupid. I can excuse it if it's a budget model, but if it's their mainline watch and it doesn't have a rotating bezel, what is the point? The rotating bezel gives the Samsung watches their own identity, and it's genuinely one of my favorite innovations that they've come up with. It's really smart and I like it. But why do they keep flip-flopping between adding it and removing it and then adding it back again? Like, what? Huh? Removed when they skipped the Galaxy Watch 2 with the Galaxy Active? Added back on the Galaxy Watch 3? Removed on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro? Added back on the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic? Removed on the Galaxy Watch Ultra? Oh. Oh. The Galaxy Watch Ultra. I forgot to talk about this one. Samsung's latest smartwatch. Just put up the image. Just put up the image. I do like how the white one looks though. The white one looks pretty cool. The name, the accent color, the extra button, the shape and the looks. Oh hey look, a bezel around the screen. Gee, I wonder if I can rotate that. Oh wait, never mind, I can't. Why? Because, well, I don't know. Fuck you. Why is the screen round when the body's a squircle? Just why? Look, literally if that little round bezel that's just sitting there, just taunting you, if that thing rotated, the Galaxy Watch Ultra would be completely fine. Unfortunately, it doesn't. This is stupid and dumb because removing the rotating bezel lets the lower end models actually look pretty sleek without it. But you've given it all this extra bezel just to do nothing with it. Well, just to copy Apple because that works apparently. And that's pretty much it. Samsung design sucks nowadays and other companies do it way better than they do.